Asat's information comes from his personal observations and biases, so they're not the whole story. Trailblazer isn't Akivili, but is growing into an eon of Trailblaze. This is why they're recognized as them. But we don't know what happens when someone permanently takes over a path. They might become Akivili for all intents and purposes. As for Akivili, they might not have died. As Asat says, an eon's death is just a change in form. After exploring everything they could, Akivili's next goal was going beyond the universe. Breaking out of bounds might have looked like a death to others. Alternatively, Akivili thought the only way to explore more was to forget everything and start again, i.e. as Trailblazer. The cell run seems to be key to this. Asat says they're path fragments, i.e. part of their concept. Trailblazer is imbued with Trailblaze. It and Harmony form a classic order versus chaos dichotomy which their body keeps in check. Asat treats Trailblazer as the Stellaron, so perhaps this one contains Akivili themselves. Regardless, their body has another secret that only the hunters would know, but Trailblazer is important to them because they create possibilities which help stop finality. Finally, Asat's answer to the fourth finality changes with the roles, but his final answer is Trailblaze. Removing barriers means removing the universe's rules, and without those nothing can happen. All three answers say any eon taking their path to the extreme is bad though. Like Ligers, he resents eons altogether. Asat wants to mercy kill Aha. According to him, Aha's compulsion to seek elation will make them plunge everything into chaos. All eons become unfeeling instruments of their paths apparently, so even elation and Trailblaze would stop being fun. Even the 1 minute of godhood is Aha trying to take breaks from their path, which might be the best they can do since turning from one's path will kill an eon, though they're easy to kill during that minute. He chose Ouroboros for the task because of their strength and also so they could get revenge for their stolen taste, which he said happened at the dawn of time, though Ruan May said it happened when Akivili set out. Maybe that's his dawn of time. But Asat said he didn't make the moon speak. If it was Aha, they might have found a way to leave elation without dying. Asat didn't break any rules despite his attack either, hence neither Aha nor Evanesia could punish him. His mask was simply one left unused after she drew Trailblazers. I think the soulless husks Zephyro fears are the sin-thirsters from Acheron's backstory and any other Iaxis victims. Asat says Selenova is tone-deaf, but I think he just means she's incompatible with music as it represents Sheepei, since she was made from a harmonic string. She counters this by listening to white noise. I thought Archforger was just an artificial craftsman, so maybe they're just a social recluse because they're not programmed for interactions. As he says in his boss fight, each form and its description represents a part of his life. The first is his time as en route. He did his best to make people happy, only for their demands to grow until he couldn't meet them, and they chased him off. This is why he said elation was dead and joined the Trailblaze. But I saw the same thing repeat on all the planets he went to, losing what faith he had left when Akivili fell, as described in his relic set. The rise of Nana convinced him the cure to elation was to destroy everything, as people are only equal and do meaningful things in dire situations. Despite his actions, the description of the boss drop implies Asat was happy to be stopped and shown a better way to Trailblaze. By the way, the forms are yet another account of Akivili's fall and Nanuq's rise happening sequentially. Maybe Akivili left the universe or reincarnated on Adlavern, which destroyed it or caused Nanuq's ascension. IRL time. The form's poses reflect sages and gods in Buddhist and Hindu art. Asat's like of the number 8 might reference the eightfold path of Buddhism, 8 steps to achieve enlightenment. The names of the forms mirror the Hindu Trimurti, creation, preservation, and destruction. Then Saṃvartasthāyi is the day of forgiveness in Jainism. They claim to come from another timeline, one where Himiko died, though others may be from others. I already explained my theory this Trailblazer is closer to Terminus and going back in time to become Akivili, and this makes me more confident. They say Qlipoth's hammer would drop in 8 hours. This is probably to stop Ouroboros, so I don't think Himiko's survival alone would change it. If it does drop, it'd mark the shortest amber era in history since this one began in 1.0. Silverwolf said Trailblazer and Firefly could meet after they encountered themselves again, so we might see her soon, maybe even on Astropolis. 3.8 implied Firefly was the designated survivor of the Nihility finality, and Asat said the hunters foresaw that happening after destruction. Speaking of Astropolis, the new broadcast after 4.4 tells us about it. There'll be both a Grand Prix and film festival there, with Robin performing at the latter. She said she'd investigate the IPC in the teaser, and eventually strip marketing also says he's sleuthing, so there's more to one or both events. The IPC is meeting to discuss Plain Acadia. I believe this replaces the Anti-Destruction Alliance meeting. Those factions are already there, so why not handle a more pressing threat? In other news, the Intelligentsia Guild invented travel that could make Star Rails obsolete, a potential future plot. chart. Amphoris is evolving rapidly, already hosted societies of simple life forms, with the cycle we know being the end goal. We now know Kafka was on Penacony with a piece of a driller from Melastonin, where they ascended and where one of the first Stellarons was found. Since 4.2, I've wondered what path Kafka used to follow. Perhaps it was beauty. It would explain her vanity and why she pretended to be a Knight of Beauty in 1.2. Nihilux observes the Nameless in secret. She had Memo Keepers do it before, but she's not just doing it for writing material anymore. In 4.3, she was writing an arc about a Himmecat doppelganger right before we learned of one in reality. The Divergent Universe Moonlit Tales also mirror current events, and her counterpart is the mastermind there. Also, if you combine the tradition of the first person we meet being important and Elation's fourth wall breaks, Nihilux is the first 4.0 character we met in the first teaser trailer. I first heard this from Venpasa. No one we know has met Aha, even though we thought they did. This is the premise of the Albert puppet short in 4.0 even. Asat interrogated Himiko because he thought she met them, but even Motoko may not have. Her flashback instead uses a shadow who taunted Silverwolf in her short. And there's two key parts of Aha's lore echoing feats by others. They're climbing a tree and seeing a child cry resembles Murata seeing the Nameless and the Express, while Aha stealing Ouroboros' taste parallels en route stealing a leviathan's tongue. Add that to the winners of the past games, and maybe Aha is just a representation of all Elation Path Striders, or at least the highly accomplished ones. The Shadow's voice is also interesting. It might be Nihilux's. It's a woman's, and while it's hard to tell in English, they have a similar cadence in Japanese.
遅くなったね。埋め合わせだと思って受け取って。だからね。ニュースで何度も見てたから一目で分かったよ。テンションが上がって思わず一緒に映りたくなっちゃって。なるほど。君は自分の弱さが怖いんだね。
I think Remiel or First Laws are better comparisons for English Hoya fans.
The cartridge is no more than a seed thrown down by the god on a whim. They do not care what kind of fruit it bears.
Like you do have something to hide after all, Mr. Model Citizen. Anyway, I'll pay you back for this favor by dealing with your nightmare in the future. You really like this little Q&A game, huh? Too bad. We'll have to call it here. Someone over there seems to be looking for you.
Himiko gets an invalid rating like other emanators. If Trailblazer is the new Akivili, maybe she's their emanator. Asat said he targeted Trailblazer on Finality's behalf. While fictionologists did edit the Express database while he was navigator, he undid their work as he'd memorized everything. So everything in his entry might be true after all, and he is connected to the Omen Vanguard somehow. Asat got his third mask from his first fight with Nanook. Maybe references to him being reborn as a Ravager were literal. Celanova was born from a harmonic string too, so Nanook or Archforger might be able to rebuild the dead into followers. Also, first fight implies Asat fought Nanook again. Trailblazer gets visions of the future again when activating their Stellaron. One is of them and Nihilux in front of screens, another is them stabbing Kafka with Firefly's sword, with the other hunters implied to be dead. We know this is the future since Blade's using his new sword. The third is them with Asat's die again. He left one behind to comment on threads on his behalf, but maybe it's a Chekhov's gun. Eons see their deaths when they ascend. As Igna noted, this might be why Chrysos heirs get prophecies of their deaths when they passed their trials. Pegana's database entry was updated, revealing the Starblazers were used to help chart new territories, though it's left ambiguous whether Peganians did so altruistically or as conquest. Thanks for watching. Please like if you did, comment your thoughts and consider subscribing for more. We also have a Patreon and YouTube memberships if you want to support me further. Take care and have a great day.